Is Amsterdam the best city in the world for cycling? Yes, absolutely. And it's not even close. I know what you're thinking. You've seen the videos of people cycling around on those crazy narrow canals with the crazy buildings on either side, and you think, yeah, that's pretty cool. I bet it's dangerous. It actually isn't. Stick around to the end of this video, and I'll tell you why. But first, let me tell you some facts about Amsterdam and cycling. In Amsterdam, there are more bikes than people. 880,000 bikes for 850,000 people. There are roughly 100 kilometers of bike paths and bike lanes in the city, and 400 kilometers if you include the surrounding areas. Around 60% of all trips in the city are done by bike. The other 40% is split between public transport, walking, and car. And that's a pretty good split, especially considering that around 25% of all trips in European cities are done by car. Now, how safe is it to cycle in Amsterdam? Well, according to the World Health Organization, in 2018, the most recent year for which they have data, there were 3,888 bicycle-related injuries in Amsterdam, of which 79 were fatal. This equates to about 3.5 bicycle-related deaths per 100,000 inhabitants. That's higher than the WHO European average of 2.6, but lower than the US average of 16.7, and especially lower than the UK average of 9.6. So how does this compare to other popular cycling cities like, say, Copenhagen or Utrecht? Well, it's hard to get comparable data, but according to some estimates, Copenhagen has around 3,000 serious accidents a year for 650,000 inhabitants, and Utrecht has around 5,000 serious accidents a year for 350,000 inhabitants. So Amsterdam is actually doing pretty well. There are also dedicated police officers whose sole job it is to direct traffic and keep order on the roads and bike paths. Their presence alone deters a lot of bad behavior from both drivers and cyclists. And there are speed bumps everywhere to keep both drivers and cyclists at a reasonable speed within the city. Outside the city, though, things get a bit more relaxed. And I should mention that while it's nice to see the odd celebrity, having so many famous people living here does bring some problems, like traffic and parking. But I can live with that. What I can't live with is people who say that cycling is dangerous. Now that we've established that it's not, let me explain why Amsterdam is the best city for cycling. First, it's flat. It may not be entirely flat, but compared to most other places it is. That makes it really easy to cycle around. Second, there are so many bikes and bike paths that everyone just intuitively knows how to cycle. There's no special training required. Everyone just sort of learns it as they go along. Third, it's a very dense city. Everything you need is right there. You don't need to cycle far to find something interesting. Fourth, most of the city is closed off to cars. The historic center is completely car-free. And even outside the historic center, most streets are only accessible to residents with a permit. This means that you can cycle around the city without having to worry about getting into an accident. Fifth, there's no bad weather. Okay, maybe that one's not true. But when it rains, everyone just gets wet and then they get a nice warm cup of tea and maybe a cookie afterwards. And that's kind of nice, actually. Sixth, it's just the right size. You can easily cycle to the outskirts of the city in about half an hour, which means that you can escape the hustle and bustle if you want to. But you can also easily get back into the action if you want to. And finally, seventh, it's just really fun. There's nothing like cycling through a picturesque canal with cute houses on either side. It's relaxing, and it's a great way to see the city. So yes, Amsterdam is the best city in the world for cycling, and it's not even close. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.